And it looks like IT has fixed my live stream problem. I just started a live stream. Well, I'm in the process of starting one. Let's make sure it completes. Okay, we are broadcasting. Okay, next up is the matter of Doris Lafitte. Let's get the worker in, Ms. Hukill. And let's see if I have any parents in here. Dee's phone, I'm pretty sure, is Doris. Is this Doris Lafitte? Can you hear me? Your microphone's muted.
Yes.
Okay. And let's see.
Is it Doris Lafitte, the kid or the father?
That's a good question. I think so. We have two Dorises in this file. It's got to be the father because the child is only 2 years old.
Yeah, that's his father.
All right.
That does not
Is
sound.
someone else present? Is someone else
Mr.
present at this phone?
It sounds like it might be the mother, actually.
That's what I thought. Diamond Green, is that you?
Yes.
All right. And is Doris present with you?
No, he's currently at work.
Oh, okay. All right. Looks like we've got both parents here. Can I have the attorneys and worker identify themselves for the record?
That way, prosecutor's office.
Mike Kelly on behalf of the mother.
Ivan Brown on behalf of Doris Lafitte, father.
Rebecca McCluskey, guardian ad litem.
Kylie Hugel, Child and Family Charities foster care worker.
Okay, Ms. McCluskey, how's Doris doing?
He's doing extremely well in this placement. He's placed with his half sister who just turned 3. He's doing very well. This is a great placement. They're very motivated to meet all of his needs, and they are doing so. He was very developmentally delayed when he came into care at 10 months, and he's doing very well in a Head Start program at this time. So I have no concerns with his placement. I do support a goal change. Obviously, Dad is completely missing in action. Mom is not participating whatsoever in any services that I'm understanding besides parenting time. And I think that's inconsistent. Obviously, we're past 182 days from disposition. So when Doris came into care, it was shortly after Mom's rights were terminated to the half sister that's placed with Doris. So the timing was just a little off, but I do support a goal change. I've reviewed the court report. No objection to the recommendations. Thank you.
And Ms. Hukill, any change to your report or to your recommendations?
No, not at this time.
Mr. Kelly, what's your position on the recommendations?
Your Honor, I'm not sure why this case is special or there's a need for such a rush to change the goal. I understand the difficulties my clients had in relation to her participation in services. But I request to the court one more report period to give her one last opportunity to participate. just because we've reached that 6-month mark doesn't mean that we automatically need to change the goal. I don't see the need for a goal change at this point. Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
I would agree with Mr. Kelly and echo his sentiments.
All right, when I have some effort being putting forth, I'm sensitive to requests for additional time. There is so little effort being put forth here. I'm going to authorize the goal change. We'll set a date for receipt of a termination petition, and that will be,
Did I put one on there, Judge?
you didn't,
Okay. We'll just receive that November 3rd at 10:15.
November 3 at 10:15.
Judge, that's next
I will-
week. Really time enough to get a petition done.
I'd ask for another week so I can review it and make sure
November-
that it's
November
done correctly.
November
10th,
10th at
9:30.
9:30. And I will set a review hearing for January 19th at 8:45. So we've got something on the calendar in the event that the court does not proceed with termination of parental rights. Anything else the court needs to address today?
No, Judge.
All right, we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Next up, Williamson and Dowell minors.
I think Kayla Upham wanted to participate too, Your Honor. I didn't put her on the list, but
I'll let her in. I'm looking for the one that you did list. There she is. And let's see what I have for parents on this one.
Dad has never participated, and I was unable to get a hold of Mom.
What's mom's name?
Ashley.
Ashley.
Dowd.
Let me see if she's in here. She's not signed in by name. I do have a few phone numbers. I'm going to see who they are. I just let in a telephone number ending in 9432. What is your name?
My name is Brandy Gundy. I'm foster mom to Lucian.
Okay, hold on.
She's on this case.
I'm just naming the screen so I know who it is. All right. And let's see, I've got a iPhone. Let me see who that is. I just let an iPhone in. Can you tell me what your name is, please? You'll need to unmute. Whoever's on the iPhone, could you please unmute and tell me who you are? Oh, I'm not getting a response. I'm going to put that phone back in the waiting room. Okay, and then one more phone number. All right, I just allowed someone in with a short telephone number. Ah, here we go. Is this Ms. Dowell? Ma'am, do you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can I have the attorneys and worker identify themselves for the record, please?
Matt Way, Prosecutor's Office.
Kayla Upham. I am the foster care supervisor and will be testifying today on behalf of the agency.
Ms. Collins, you're muted.
Caseworker Shelby Collins.
Thank you.
Ivan Brown on behalf of Ashley Dowell.
Donna, did you say mom was here or was not?
She is present,
She is, okay.
yes. The father's not present, but
Yep.
information I have is he hasn't been participating, so that's not surprising. Okay, and I vaguely remember that someone asked this to be moved up on the court docket, but I don't remember why. Mr. Way, could you bring me up to speed?
Your Honor, it was actually me. It was brought to my attention by placement, who I believe is here, regarding issues with consistency or even lack of visits that mom was getting with the children. So, Ms. Coe, could you explain to the court the issues that you've run into in relation to having even visits to even her, and then when the last visit actually took place for mom and the children?
This is Brandy. Kathy Coe has not, I'm positive she's the iPhone. She has an iPhone. I don't think she's on.
Oh, okay, hold on, let me try. I got her in and she didn't respond, and she just logged out. She just disappeared from the waiting room.
Your Honor, I have her
Let me see if-
direct number if you want to give her a
What
call.
is that?
I don't know if I want to say it on live YouTube, though. Can I email Shannon with it?
Yeah, email it to Shannon.
And Judge, I sent you and Matt email letter from Miss Gundy for your review that kind of lays the whole situation out. Did you receive it?
Our email was malfunctioning yesterday, and I have not been on my email yet today, but I can certainly look for it.
Did you receive it, Mr. Way?
I did.
Okay.
All right, give me a second to log in. Okay, I've got it. All right, that iPhone is back. Let me try to let her in. See if she can hear me this time. I just allowed an iPhone into the courtroom. If you could unmute and identify yourself, please.
Kathy Coe.
Okay. I don't know what the problem was earlier, but it looks like it's solved. All right, I'm going to take a moment to review the email. So the issue is problems with visits being canceled. Peter, I'm going to print this so that I can put it in the file.
Okay.
So Ms. Upham, did you get this this email communication?
I did not.
Can we get that forwarded to her, Mr. Way?
Yes, let me try to find it.
So the email is from Brandy Gundy. It's addressed to Aaron DeLay at DHHS, and it's raising concerns about visits being canceled. Ms. Gandhi, this email accurately states your concerns.
Yes, it does.
All right, well, let's give Ms. Upham a chance to read it, and we'll get a response from her.
I can't find my email. I know I read it and then I put a note in our file and deleted it.
Well, I still have it. I can forward it if I can find an email address. Hold on a minute.
Can you forward one to me, Your Honor, too? I can't find mine either.
Okay. Ms. Upham, what's your email address?
CatholicCharitiesJLHC.org.
Catholic Charities JLHC.org.
Correct.
All right, I'm sending it now.
Thank you. I have read the email.
All right. Can I have your response, please?
I think I laid it out pretty clearly in our report. I am not certain on the visit 5 weeks ago in regards to rain. We have begun moving our visits inside and have had that plan. I think as many are well aware, COVID has greatly impacted our abilities to do our jobs, and we have to have procedures in place to ensure the safety of everybody involved. As for the last 3 weeks, in the report, I kind of laid that out. The first week, within Lucian's foster home, there was a concern as there were individuals that were ill in that home. Our policy states that if anyone in the home has any COVID symptoms, we are not to have visits. As I'm pretty sure that's a pretty standard policy amongst most places, including doctors' offices and various agencies. So that visit was not able to occur. Ashley was able to see the other 2 children that week. The week after that, the Monday, I believe it was that Monday prior to the visit occurring, Ms. Coe reached out to the worker indicating that the children were ill and the daycare required that they take a COVID test. That COVID test did come back, but there were still individuals within that foster home that were ill at that time, meaning we had no choice but to cancel that visit. As for last week, Ashley then presented as ill. She indicated to the worker, and in talking with the worker who speaks with her on the phone regularly, even of the day of the visit, she sounded very congested. And ultimately, we had to cancel the visit. It was not until after the visit occurred that I received an email would have occurred, that I received a voicemail from Ms. Dowell indicating that she was no longer ill. Although I don't necessarily speak to Ms. Dowell on a regular basis to be able to judge her voice, but we have to go based on the information that's being told to us. We are in unprecedented times. That we are in the middle of a pandemic, and we have to take all precautions, as it is more than just these individuals that this affects. As it stands, due to another case not having honesty about illness, Ms. Collins is already currently out and in quarantine because of COVID concerns, being in contact with someone that very well could have COVID. We have to take these seriously. Is it a fantastic thing for these children not to be able to see their mother in person? Absolutely not. We want those to occur as often as possible, but we also cannot sacrifice the health and safety of all others involved, especially when we're dealing with 2 separate foster homes and another family, as well as all of those that have to watch the visits and the parenting coach who then goes into other homes. It is not fair at this time to expose those. We have offered those video visits. I'm more than willing to reach out and, when everybody's healthy, reschedule and have extra visits. I believe in the report, I even indicated that Ms. Dowell is making great strides. She's re-engaged in therapy. So over the next reporting period, if we're getting good reports from therapy and this parenting coach, there's no reason we shouldn't be moving to unsupervised even, provided those reports are coming back. But with the current concerns in the current environment and COVID cases on the rise, I cannot ethically expose the potential for many others to be exposed to COVID. And as I stated in the report, there's also a lot of questioning with false negatives and false positives. I did speak to Miss Coe about this. She did call me. I provided her with our policy as well as the COVID screening tool that we use weekly. As for Miss Gundy, I have never received a phone call from Miss Gundy to talk about any of her concerns. I'm not sure if she has the correct information. I will certainly make sure that she does, because I need to know of any concerns that there are so that I can address them. But that is the agency's current position.
Thank you. So Ms. Gundy indicates in her email that there were visits that were canceled because of symptoms, but COVID tests came back negative before the visits. Why, if everyone who's having symptoms has been tested and has come back negative, is it your policy that you still cancel visits because of symptoms even when there is a negative COVID test?
We take those very seriously. The negative testing and the false negatives are occurring, and we cannot rule that out. When someone is still presenting with an illness, even prior to COVID, visits where we did not have visits when people are ill, because it's not fair to expose all these other people to illnesses. We can take all the proper precautions, have the mask wearing, but there's still those concerns. As many employers currently are facing, even with a cold, we are not able to work. So if we even contract that, it's a domino effect. There are places currently that if you have a headache or the sniffles of any kind, you're off for 10 days, no matter what a COVID test states. So it would not be fair to even bring that into the office when there are alternate methods that we can be using. Is it ideal? It's not. Is it more than likely a cold? Probably, but we just cannot ethically take that risk at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Upham?
Just comments.
Likewise.
Any questions for either Ms. Gundy or Ms. Collins?
No.
No, you're
Okay, well, let me hear your comments then.
Judge, just to refresh your memory, Miss Dowell was granted discretion to go to unsupervised in December, right at disposition. You gave discretion to go to unsupervised. And the reason for that was because of the minimal factual issues with regard to her. This case basically was brought to the court because of her significant other, which she has had no contact with in almost a year. We have had no assertive ability to even think about going to unsupervised, even though Miss Dowell has done essentially everything asked of her in a timely manner. Therapy, although that therapist didn't work out, that's with Miss Honig, who had some choice things to say about this agency. Again, Judge, I hate to say this, but just my review of some of these purchases services agency, our numbers are low. And if the child is not returned, if the child is returned, they stop making money. So you can't discount that aspect of not proceeding quicker in this case. I refer to the psychological. Miss Dowell's overall mental health and ability to prepare for her children. There's no evidence of cognitive impairment or limitation, and no evidence of substance abuse. The parenting index was valid and indicates no evidence of overt parenting concerns. Life stress was not elevated. She's completed everything in a timely manner, and we're nearly a year from the time that you gave discretion, and she really had no hiccups except for the therapy with Miss Honig. And whatever you say, you can't blame that on her. She faithfully went. I would ask that the court to grant unsupervised parenting time right now, and I would really request that DHHS take a good hard look and take this back in-house. Thank you. And further, with regard, I've been doing this a long time, and there are very few foster parents that stick out in my mind as being above and beyond. And Miss Gundy sticks out as above and beyond when I'm the LGAL. She's impressive. There aren't many like her. So she's not a antagonistic person. She really impressed me as much, where she's one that sticks out in my memory as being above and beyond foster parent. So I really would take her word into consideration. Thank you.
All right, I just, before I hear any more comments from attorney, I just noticed that Ms. Cole has asked to speak, so I'm going to give her a chance to address anything that has been said so far. Ms. Cole?
Yes, when they're talking about the visitations being canceled and they say they follow the CDC rules, I happen to work in the healthcare, and when a COVID test comes back negative, you have to just, I mean, you could have a stuffy nose all winter. So you're gonna not allow these children that are now 1 and 2 to see their parent, and the baby, the 1-year-old, doesn't even know the parent because we have had so many canceled visitations. And every one of these COVID tests came back negative prior to each visit. And the one incident where she said someone was still ill in my home, that person had diarrhea. I really don't think that somebody's going to get diarrhea from a visit. And it wasn't the child that had it, it was my husband.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly?
Your Honor, briefly, as stated in my email that initially brought this to the attention of the court, it's an overly broad policy that's in place that, as I said in my email, you would essentially be eliminated from seeing your children if you had a common cold. And as the court's aware, with now it being essentially cold and flu season, and then your kids go back to school and they catch colds and other sniffles and sore throats and stuff from other classmates, that shouldn't eliminate a parent's ability to see their child. I think the policy is overly broad. If you've had, if you're symptom free of what they're looking for as it relates to COVID, and you've done the tests and they have come back negative, I don't see any reason for the parents to be able to see their children. The agency is telling the court they are not going to do the visits because of the concerns that they have laid out for this court this morning. I would agree with Mr. Brown. Then we need to move this family to another agency that would allow the visits to occur, because we are to the point where we probably should have had and strong consideration for unsupervised visits, and that hasn't happened yet. And this is going to delay. And I understand the offer for video visits, but that's not the same as being able to be with your parent, for the child to get to know their parent, the smells of their parent, all those types of sensory things that children of that age need for bonding. It's not gonna be able to occur over a video. So I'd request to the court that we get these visits up and going, considering the steps that this foster placement both have taken to make sure that they've been in compliance in relation to the COVID testing and what they needed to be looking for. Otherwise, we're going to come back at our review hearing and mom's going to have basically no visits and is going to be losing that bond with her children, which is criminal at this point. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I could, just to make it clear, the agency will follow whatever the court orders. We are just currently, this is just how the guidelines we are following. But if the court orders something different, we certainly will make those arrangements and will seek alternate safety precautions to try to ensure that our staff are safe in these times, but we will follow whatever court order is laid out.
Excuse
any,
me.
just
Yes.
a second. Any comments, Mr. Way?
Nothing additional, Your Honor. Thank you.
So help me understand, if I order unsupervised visits today, how are those carried out? What are the logistics?
So if unsupervised visits were carried out or were implemented today, there would have to be a location that was determined appropriate in the public, which would be difficult at this time. But at the last time we were at Miss Dowell's home, there's exposed wiring, there's exposed plumbing. It's not a suitable situation for young children. For Lucian, it's probably a little bit more appropriate. But for young children who are crawling around and get into things, it's not appropriate. There is a parenting coach put into place. So I'm not entirely certain how that would work. I mean, it would still, in order to continue with that, I guess the visits would technically still be supervised. So she would lose out on that parenting coach, which is something that took quite a long time to track down a program. And actually, Wellspring recently opened a program and we were able to get in that way. And which are services that we feel Miss Dowell could greatly benefit from. And then she just signed up for the counseling. I believe it was Friday, despite having multiple referrals for weeks prior. But I mean, the parenting coach would be the biggest thing, in the location and where those would occur.
Thank you. Ms. Cole, you wanted to add something?
Yes, they wanted us to do the videos, and it's a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. The phone just gets thrown. I had a broken screen, and it's just not doable for these young children. They're way too young. And the other thing is I have addressed several concerns to Kayla, only with backlash. I have not been treated very nicely through this agency at all.
Okay, I am going to order that visits occur. If there are concerns about sniffles, etc., take as much precautions as possible, but I want the visits to take place. I'm not going to order unsupervised immediately, only because I don't want to deprive Ms. Dowell of the opportunity to have a parenting coach involved who could assist. But if that, I want to see additional visits beyond those with the parenting coach that are unsupervised, and we'll just have to find a suitable place for those to take place. We need to do some catch up here for lost parenting time, and I want you to make as much time available as is reasonably possible under the circumstances, so that Ms. Dowell can begin, particularly with the youngest, developing a stronger bond. We're headed towards reunification, but we're moving awfully slowly. That we certainly want it to be successful, but on the other hand, we don't want to do more damage just by dragging this out longer than necessary. Ms. Dowell, do you have a plan in place for addressing the safety concerns in your home?
I have actually, since they have come out to see the house, we have actually covered the plumbing that was exposed, so it's no longer exposed. And the wiring that they are talking about that is exposed is in the ceiling of the basement. So the only way for us to cover the exposed wiring is to put a ceiling in, and there is no way anyone in my family, including myself, would have the money to install a ceiling in our basement.
As long as the parenting doesn't take place in the basement, exposed wiring in the basement is not a concern to me.
She resides in the basement, Your Honor. It's a home that's split into an upper level and a basement level. Her grandfather lives in the upper level where she was residing previously, but she now lives in the basement level. That is her only residence.
If that's where she lives, that's fine. My direction is that the parenting time must take place other than in the basement. So that needs to be observed.
And Judge, this,
exposed wiring in the ceiling that's totally untouchable, unreachable by a child, what's the concern there? I can understand exposed wiring at the floor level. There's a potential for a child to touch it. What's the concern at the ceiling level?
I guess in talking to the worker, my understanding had, I must have misunderstood that there was not exposed wiring other locations. So that, I mean, yes, in the ceiling, I mean, that's not necessarily a reason that we wouldn't do visits there. And I can certainly go out with the worker, you know, in this next week to reevaluate that, to see if we can do those unsupervised visits in her home as well.
If there is no longer any exposed plumbing or any exposed risk that's within the reach of the children, I would expect unsupervised parenting time to take place in the mother's home where she resides.
Thank you.
Certainly, I would want you to do a safety inspection to verify that. But assuming there are no ongoing safety problems, I would expect there to be unsupervised visits in the mother's home, and there can be additional supervised visits where there's a parenting coach involved, because I want Ms. Dowell to get the advantage of that parenting time coach.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Cole, you still got your hand raised. I don't know if was anything more you wanted to say?
Yes, there was one thing when you just mentioned this. If she is going to have unsupervised visits in her home and we live an hour apart, is there a time recommendation for that because of the fact that they would just spend time traveling mostly?
That's a logistic that's going to have to be addressed. I'm not going to set parameters for how long parenting time lasts, but when we're looking at that distance, I would hope that it's a lengthy period so that the bulk of the time isn't spent with the children traveling.
Okay, I was just thinking, yeah, like a daytime visit or 4 hours or 6 hours, whatever you think. But I was just, yeah, I was worried about it just being travel time.
Yeah, I agree. We don't want a child traveling for an hour for a 1 hour visit and then an hour travel back. It needs to be a longer visit. So the visits need to take into account the travel time. Okay, anything else today?
No,
I think we just need a new date. The original date was scheduled for next week.
Yes, we'll set a new review hearing date in January, January 19th at 9:30.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
thank you.
Thank you, foster parents. I appreciate your participation and involvement. We would be in a world of hurt without folks like you making your homes available for these children. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's gonna have to all be done, because I didn't get the report at all.
All right, I won't even bother writing on it.
And I took notes anyway, so.
Okay.
If you want anything more or less, then you just let me know when I'm done.
Yeah, so I'll need to take some time reviewing that one.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let me. Okay, we got a couple educational neglect files. Azariah Suddeth. Let me see if I've got a parent in here.
Doubtful.
Let me see. Gotta find a name.
Angela Coppernoll.
Let me see if there's a phone number on the petition. I'm gonna try to call her. I don't see anybody by that name logged in. Shannon, who's LGAL on this one?
Mr. Brown.
And then Brad.
Do we have someone from ISD on this file?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I put in my email. I think Miss Williams is, she's a new foster parent actually, so she might be, she's taken a little absence. So
I was under the impression she was, I don't know these other names.
Carl Richardson.
JL Richardson, let me see. Waiting for an audio connection. JL Richardson?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, are you on the ed neglect cases now?
Yep, I'm the truancy specialist.
Okay, so I'm trying to get Ms. Coppernoll on the phone.
No, and I was not able to get
just,
hold of her.
All right, let me see if she responds to this.
Please leave your message for
Ms. Coppernoll, this is Judge LaFlamme. I'm calling you from the courtroom. We have an educational neglect case that's been filed against you concerning your child, Azariah Sunneth. As indicated in the notice, failure to participate in the hearing today could result in a bench warrant issued against you. If I do not hear back from you at the courthouse before 5 p.m. today, a bench warrant will be issued and you're subject to being arrested.
You mean 4:30, Your Honor?
Well, whatever. Okay, so I didn't realize there was a report in here. Give me a moment to look at it. Oh, okay. According to this, Azariah is enrolled at Paragon Charter Academy and is attending school regularly.
Yep, she's had some tardies, but she has been attending and doing her assignments. So.
That was the next thing out of my mouth, as I represent one of her siblings in juvenile court, and I was aware that mother had all of the children in, as of a month ago, had all of her children either in virtual or Paragon.
All right, in light of that, I won't be issuing a bench warrant. I will heed the recommendation. We'll keep this case open for 6 weeks to monitor, to make sure that continued participation in school is occurring. We'll set basically an adjournment date for the pretrial, December 8th at 8:45, assuming attendance is maintained. I would probably be dismissing the petition on that date. Thank you.
Could you send me reports? I am the LGAL. I don't have any contact information for you, but maybe if you have contact with Mr. Way, he could give you my email and you could keep me updated on how she's doing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And I think we've got one more ed neglect, Amina Ford. And let's see, I do have a report here. Give me a moment to look at it. Oh, and then Natasha Bicey, I see she's in the waiting room. Let me bring her in. Ms. Bicey, this is Judge LaFlamme. I just called your case regarding Amina Ford.
Yes.
I got a report from Ms. Richardson. I'm going to take a moment to review that.
Okay.
All right. During your meeting with Ms. Richardson, you agreed that you would make sure you got doctor's notes to school in the event Amina misses any school due to illness. You'll make sure she attends all face-to-face instruction and speech therapy as scheduled, and that you'll make sure she logs into virtual program for 20 minutes per day and submits all of her weekly assignments on time.
Yeah.
The recommendation is that I keep the file open for 4 weeks to monitor compliance we'll schedule a adjourn date on the pretrial so I can see whether or not compliance has been maintained. And if it has, on that date, I will be dismissing the petition. So that return date is November 24th at 8:45.
8:45, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Richardson. And I think that was the last of the ed neglects. Next up is a post-term for the Van Horn boys.
Judge, could I just ask real quick, are we doing our 1 o'clock?
I don't see what there is to do since I concluded that I'm not going to do anything short of a jury trial in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I was an email that I looked at while I've been on the record, so I wouldn't have had a chance to tell you.
What did you have this afternoon?
I do need to schedule it though for a jury trial, Judge. Is that what you want me to do?
Yes. I'm sorry, Mike, what'd you say?
What did you have this afternoon?
Oh, I was on Valor Holler.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
No, I think you're good. Okay, this is Van Horn Miners. Let's see, Mr. Kelly, you're LGAL. Let me see if, what do we got? We got Lindsay Coling.
Judge, it's cooling.
Cooling. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Cooling. We're doing a post-term for Kyle and Caleb. Looks like they're both doing well. They're residing together in independent living, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And they're doing what's being expected of them in order to maintain their independent living status?
Yes, they are. They are both working full time. Kyle currently is struggling a little bit in school, so I hope to address that with him this week, deciding whether he starts a full online program through a different school or if he's going to continue at Jackson High through the current online program. Kyle's very much work motivated, and so he'd rather work than finish his senior year of high school. So we're just trying to encourage him to get his high school diploma so that he does graduate. Other than that, the boys are doing very well. They're maintaining their housing, maintaining all their bills, and following all their independent living agreements rules. So they're doing very well.
Great. Mr. Kelly, have you had contact with the boys?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Caleb yesterday. I think I woke him up, but he said things are going well. He's looking forward to his baby coming. Knows he's going to be what he's having, and I think they have a name picked out for her. I was not available, but he was working as referenced in the court report. He seems to be working a lot of hours. I would agree with a caseworker. I would hope he can be encouraged to finish out his high school studies so he can at least get his diploma. I know the idea of putting it off and getting a GED later is your route. But I don't think it's the most beneficial for him, and there's probably a chance that he may never go back to actually get it. So hopefully this Cooling is successful in getting him to rethink that moving forward. But I've reviewed the report, Your Honor, and I have no objection to the recommendations.
Thank you. I'm going to implement them. We'll set our next review hearing for January 19th at 9:15. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, I need to call the jail, but I see I've got a foster parent in here. Let me, I just let L. Stetson in. I see that you are the foster parent in the Clute file. My apologies to you. We handled that case much earlier today, and I didn't notice that you were in there when I did it. So I didn't want you to keep waiting. Did you have a question for the court?
No, we spoke to Mr. Brown earlier, so it seems like it's going to be referred to an adoption worker, and we've expressed our desire to adopt, Your Honor.
Wonderful. So we are, we'd already conduct that. I set a new review date. I don't happen to have that in front of me.
January 19th.
Okay, thank you. My apologies for keeping you waiting.
No problem. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll be in touch.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Okay, and that completes our neglect docket. I do have a PPO violation I've got to address, but I think we've done all our neglect cases.
Are we not going on the record this afternoon?
I don't, based on the email exchange, I don't see a need. There's no need to, we'll set a date for a jury trial. It'll be February at the earliest, I'm not sure. Shannon will send you a date.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good day.
You too.
All right, let's get a hold of the jail.
And I need the file number for that PPO, please.
2978.
PP?
Yeah.
County Jail Booking Sergeant Common.
Good morning. It is still morning. This is Judge LaFlamme. Could you bring Marshawn Bacon into my meeting room, please?
Yes, sir, we can.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm doing a sheet for you.
I think this might just be a tiny.
Judge, we got this dismissal from Kevin.
Oh, okay. Just set it there.
Okay.
Oh, we get the real room this time instead of the iPad. iPad connection isn't the best.
Last time was. Right, the last time I checked when I talked to you.
Okay, you are Marshawn Bacon?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Bacon, you were arrested for allegedly being in violation of a personal protective order.
Exactly.
All right, according to the, and I need to read this to you. I assume you don't have a written copy of the probable cause information sheet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, according to this report, it says the officer, looks like Officer Brooks, Deputy Brooks, was dispatched to 1260 Laurel Lane for a welfare check on Marshawn Bacon.
Exactly.
I ran his name in lean and learned there's a served PPO that prohibits Marshawn from being at 1260 Laura Lane or being around his wife, Laura Bacon. Upon arrival on scene, I heard Laura and Marshawn arguing inside the residence. I observed Marshawn attempting to exit out of the rear entrance door. Marshawn spotted me and went back inside. Laura allowed officers into the residence where Marshawn was located hiding in a bathroom. You were also administered a PBT test with the results of 0.278. So I need to advise you that you have the right to contest this charge at a contempt hearing.
Okay.
You're entitled to be represented by an attorney, either one of your choosing or one appointed for you by the court if you are unable to afford one. You may face up to 93 days in jail, could be fined up to $500 if you're found guilty of contempt. Do you wish the court to appoint an attorney to represent you?
No, sir.
Would you like to enter a plea to this charge today?
Yes, sir.
All right, so there's another process I've got to go through in order to accept a plea from you. I need you to raise your right hand, please. You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
State your full name for the record.
Marshawn Maurice Bacon.
Mr. Bacon, do you understand that you are pleading guilty to violating the PPO?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you are giving up the right to a hearing, and you're also giving up your right to a lawyer,
Yes,
either
sir.
one of your choice or one appointed for you by the court?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that throughout the hearing you would be presumed innocent until your guilt is proven beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you would have the right to have all witnesses against you appear at the hearing, to ask them questions, and to have me order other witnesses to appear at your request?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you are not required to testify and nobody can say anything about you not testifying or hold it against you?
Yes, sir.
On the other hand, if you choose to, you would have the right to testify. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If I accept your guilty plea, you understand that you will not be having a contested hearing. You will be giving up all the rights that I've just told you about, and you will also be giving up any claim that the plea was not your own choice, but the result of promises and/or threats not disclosed to the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you do understand that the maximum penalty is up to 93 days in jail and/or a fine of up to $500.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand that any appeal following your plea would have to be by application for leave and not by right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you are on probation or parole status, this plea could affect that status?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone threatened you?
No, sir.
Has anyone promised you anything?
No, Your Honor.
Is it your own choice today to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me how you plead to the charge of violating the PPO.
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, tell me what happened.
Well, went by there I had the kids all day, actually. Everything was going fine. And I got the kids off to school, started my day out like I usually do. I've been over there, Your Honor, I'm gonna be honest. I've been living there. And we put in paperwork with you and she signed it and I signed it, but we missed the court date to get the PPO dismissed. But anyways, I've been around her because we got 5 kids in common. So I was there, and that's what happened. And the cops got involved, and I tried to sneak out the back door, but we got a paper signed and concealed with her signature and mine, but we missed the court date with you, I think.
That's what happens.
Yep.
I don't set aside a PPO just
Right.
because someone files a motion.
Right.
What I like to do when someone files a motion and they appear in front of me is to make sure that the person who's being protected by the PPO is going to be safe. In this case, I'm going to guess that a neighbor heard you guys arguing and called the police.
I don't know how they got involved, but whatever it was, I'm guilty for violating the PPO, sir. I'm being honest.
Well, and I have a greater concern, the level of alcohol you had in your system,
right,
and the fact that the two of you are arguing in the presence of your children causes me great concern.
Yes, sir.
Based on this information, I'm not sure I would set aside this PPO even if you came in front of me.
Yes, sir.
You guys need to get some kind of help to make sure that you're not exposing your children to that kind of behavior. It's not good for them.
Understandable.
And it's not good for either of you. Clearly, under these, it looks like the problem is heightened when you're consuming alcohol.
Yes,
for you
sir.
to have that much alcohol in your system, you drank quite a bit.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm assuming mom was probably drinking too. That just makes things that much worse.
She wasn't drinking, sir.
All right, well, my strong advice to you is that you not do it. So here's what I'm going to do.
Yes, sir.
When were you arrested last night?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you've spent 1 day in jail. I'm going to sentence you to 1 day in jail. So you've served your time. I'm going to give you a very, very strong warning. As long as this PPO is in place, you can't be in that home. You cannot be in her presence.
Yes, sir.
You're likely to get arrested again. And if you get arrested again while this PPO is in effect, I'm not going to let you off with just 1 day in jail.
Yes, sir.
Until you see a piece of paper that says this PPO has been set aside, you need to honor it.
Yes, sir.
We'll send over the paperwork necessary for you to get released. And did you have any questions for me?
No, sir. So do we need to put in the more paperwork? I mean, do we need to get that paperwork signed again and in order to get back in front of you so we can see how things go or what? Because we got 5 kids in common. I mean, do we need to put the paperwork back in again or? But I understand what you're saying, sir.
Either that or request a rehearing on the one that I dismissed it. I don't care if they'll let you just schedule a new notice of hearing. I'm good with that. I want you both here, and between now and whatever time I hear that thing, I think it would be a very good idea for Ms. Bacon to talk to the people over at Aware and get some counseling regarding domestic violence. The problem you're going to face is if there's an escalation of violence in front of your children, you're going to have CPS all over you. You're going to be in front of me on a child protective case, and there's a risk that your children could be removed from you and placed in foster care.
Yes, sir.
You got to make sure your kids are not being exposed to that kind of behavior.
Understood.
It's damaging.
Yes, sir.
It is damaging to them.
Yes, sir.
And until I set aside a PPO, you need to honor it.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right,
you, sir.
you're welcome.